welcome to the new Peugeot 2008. Now it's going to be a busy year for small SUVs. There's going to be a new Renault Captur and a new Nissan Juke later in the year, but Peugeot has got out first with the 2008. Now, like the 208, you can have your 2008 in different flavours: petrol, diesel, or all electric. And as the number plate gives it away slightly here, this is the E2008, which will do just under 200 miles in terms of range. I've already driven it. It's not as sprightly as some electric cars, but it's really cool. It does go quite quickly. It's very quiet, very refined, and I think people are going to really enjoy this car. But anyway, let's just talk about the design of this 2008. Peugeot says it captures the spirit of the 3008, and you're probably thinking, yep, it looks pretty much like the 3008 to me. That's going to be an interesting one because this car is bigger than the old 2008. It's only slightly smaller than the 3008, a bit narrower, but it's going to be very interesting to see whether people want to go for the 3008 or the 2008, particularly with an electric car which isn't available on the bigger car. But Peugeot says buyers of this class of car like chunky. Big wheels, of course, another prerequisite of an SUV, 16 to 18 inch wheels. Of course, this is the 18 inch wheel version. You get a little E-badge. If you don't remember you got the electric car, that will tell you all about it. I particularly like these little crisp lines. I don't know if you can see them well, but the sort of triangular lines, they call them scalps in the design team. Some crisp surfacing along here and more scalp sort of shapes here. A bit like the Audi Q2, but in reverse. I'm a big fan of the design of that car. Of course, black bits at the lower level and some brushed chrome stuff here, and as is normal these days, a black roof, but only on the top spec models. I think the second grade up you start to get these black roof rails too. Now if we can have a look round the back, it's more of a similar theme from Peugeot, and they do a pretty backside. Some really nice detail to the claw-like lights, reference to the Peugeot lion there, and this black panel, the plastic panel, is supposed to elongate the width of the car as well, but a really good looking rear end. And if I'm honest, what we've got in the class at the moment is not that great. Yeah, the C3 Aircross is all right, but I think the class is open for something to really take it by the scruff of the neck, and this car could well do it. But let's have a look inside as well, shall we? Peugeot do some really nice interiors, and this is another one in terms of the quality. Well, let's just use my my ring to just tap some of the plastics there and there. Yeah, really nice. Certainly better than the Volkswagen T-Cross or T-Roc, where you tap it, it sounds a bit more plasticky. But it's the style of this car. The thing that is really good is this three-dimensional digital display right in front of you, which takes the digital dashboard onto a different level. Now, most models will get a 10-inch screen, and you can upgrade that if you want the navigation on the lower spec stuff. You get some nice little touch-sensitive buttons along the bottom here, and these are fantastic to play with. In terms of other tech, some nice little features somewhere in here, if I can work out how to do it. There you go. There's wireless charging for your mobile phone, but there's also this clever ledge that if you don't want the wireless charging, somewhere at long last to put your mobile phone that isn't a cup holder. But of course, there are cup holders too. Now, this car is bigger than the one before. As I've mentioned, the wheelbase has increased by 60 millimeters, and in terms of rear space, I can sit quite comfortably behind myself, and I'm about 6 foot tall. Plenty of headroom in the front and in the back. The boot is bigger than before as well. Even in this electric car, there's no batteries under the floor there that make the boot smaller. They're actually in the place of the fuel tank and hidden along here and at the front of the car, wherever you can find some space to put a battery. They seem to have done it. Now, the driving position. Hate to mention this, but I tend to put the seat right down and the steering wheel right up. We've criticised Peugeot's iCockpit in the past. I like the small steering wheel, it's really nice. I like the high-set dashboard, but in my driving position, the old foibles of iCockpit have returned, and I can't see all of the display. I have to kind of sit up or push the steering wheel down where I don't really want it. Now, that's a potential downside just for me in my driving position, but try it first. Might not be a problem for you. What I guarantee you will enjoy is the level of quality, style, and technology inside this car. It really does make you feel special, and probably more special than the other cars in this class at the moment. So if you like the 2008, and I think I do so far, as I said, I've driven them, they drive really nice. They're only prototypes, a bit of work to do, but it certainly showed they've got a good starting point. You're gonna have to wait till next year, probably in time for the March change in registration. You'll be able to buy one of these. And don't forget, you've got your choice. You've got your petrol. There's a choice of petrol engines, one diesel. I don't think anybody's going to really bother with that, but the really intriguing one is the all-electric car. No word on prices yet, but of course, it's bigger than the old car in pretty much every dimension. It's got more tech on board, so you're going to pay a little bit more. And probably topping out the range will be the EV. I reckon at around 30,000, maybe hopefully just under that, which is where I think it really needs to be, because the range isn't quite as good as everything else. But live with one of these electric cars, and I really like it, particularly this sort of coloured grille treatment, and you'll probably find you can live with it every day. So 2008, it's going to have a tough year with some other challenges coming, but this is probably going to stand a pretty good chance of some success.